whether red or blue. They could not care less about Texas, me and you. They created this give me country that don't value hard work. For a Texan to survive, all we need are some seeds and dirt. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. We believe in family and we value our community. Gladly lend a helping hand to a neighbor in need. And we don't believe that government should provide for all of society's needs. No, it's the pride of a Texan to give to others voluntarily. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country, for it's long gone. They like our tax dollars and they love our natural resources. They don't want to see us driving trucks, they'd rather see us riding horses. And now they want to ban our guns, you know, especially the ones that look scary. But may I remind you of the Gonzales Cannon and the Alamo heroes we buried. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country, for it's long gone. This last verse is straight from the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 and 2. Look it up. Texas is an independent state, yet presently we suffer. We no longer possess the right to locally self-govern. And now it's time as a people in which all political power is inherent. And in such manner we find expedient, we reform or abolish our government. I said, Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country, for it's long gone.
Hey, good evening, fellow Texians. This is Daniel Miller, president of the Texas Nationalist Movement, and it's time for coffee talk, right? How'd you guys like the new intro? Not too shabby, huh? I thought it was pretty nice. Let's just see if we're going to be able to have an evening free of technical difficulties. You'll pardon me if I kind of look back and forth. Got a lot going on tonight, and I am just trying to make sure that we are all on top of it. So let's get down to it. How about we jump in? I'm excited. Look, coffee talk is a thing. I was when I started doing the late night coffee talks, it was sort of my thing. I would just get on the Facebook Live or a Periscope or one of those, and just sort of decompress. And then they began to badger me about doing more of them. So I said, okay, look, here's what happens if I do this once a week, right? If I set a schedule and say, okay, Wednesday night, 9:30, I'm going to do this thing every night, every week. Then we'll see, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I used to do a radio show. Actually, I've done several radio shows, and so I am sort of used to that either daily or weekly format. So it's not uncommon or unusual to me, but you know. I've been able to do it. So we did enough of these strung together where I felt comfortable enough that I would be able to work it through my travel schedule, so that every Wednesday at 9:30, I'll be able to sit here and have coffee with you guys, because remember, I work all hours. Okay. So let's have our coffee. How does that sound? All right, let's get down to brass tacks before we get started tonight. I want to thank you all for joining us right here. And I say us, it's not like a royal we situation. It's literally more than me here. So thank you for joining us to talk about TEXIT, the TNM, or news of the day, whatever, and listen to what I got to say and interact on chat. This week we are broadcasting again. We are expanding all of the various places where you're able to see this. So not only are we on the TNM's Facebook page, we're on actually my Facebook page. We're in two of the groups on Facebook. We're on the TNM's Twitter. I think we're actually on my Twitter as well. We're on Twitch. We're on two different YouTube channels. And there is, don't tell anyone, but there is actually an extra stream on here tonight where we are testing out the live stream functionality to our new super secret Roku channel. So get ready for that. That'll be out here pretty soon. One last thing to do, and then it's ready to roll out. So pretty excited. So wherever you are joining us tonight, I really do appreciate your time. I mean, it is kind of late in the evening for some folks. For me, this is my midday break, apparently. But I do appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to be here with us and just talk TEXIT, talk about TNM, listen to what's going on, what we got to do next. And of course, the chats. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. So let me just go ahead and tell you, if you're watching on YouTube right now, please be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time we go live or we post a new video. And of course, for the YouTubers out there, there is Super Chat available. So, we would love for you to, if you have an opportunity, drop some coin in the Super Chat. Let's get this thing going. And of course, as always, look, if you're on Facebook, you know what to do over there. Like, share, comment, beat the Facebook algorithm. Make sure you're seeing more of our posts in your feed. If you do that, that helps. And of course, if you haven't liked our Facebook page, please do so. It's getting more and more difficult over there. Same thing with Twitter. You know what to do. Follow us. Give us a good old heart on the tweets. Do those things, the things that are natural for those social media outlets. I don't need to delineate all of them, but you know what to do. So please go do that. And of course, a reminder, I do have chat live. It's as I am looking at it, it is there. Yeah, right there. So I am actually seeing a lot of what you're saying over there. Some I can. It scrolls pretty fast because, as you can imagine, as it aggregates all of those various comments and chats and things of that nature, it gets to scrolling pretty fast. So, I'll try to make it through. I promise, because that has been a hallmark of this, has just been really us having some conversations, right? I tell you what's going on. I read through the chats. I answer your questions. And, and also look, I know that I've already seen some questions come across that I have already answered. I'm going to tell you, if it's a TEXIT question, right? Unless it is somewhat of an outlier that I haven't answered a million times, or that is not on the website, right? If you go to texitnow.org, takes you to the TEXIT section of the TNM website. We have all those questions answered in very excruciating detail. And I know this because the vast majority of those I wrote the answers to. So it's all over there. And then some, like some I've already seen some people asking about governor, right? What is our stance on the governor's race? I literally have answered that probably for the past 4 coffee talks. So feel free to jump back to the archives, take a look at that answer. That answer has not changed, but I would encourage you to listen to the one from last week. Week before last. I really detailed some news there. All right, so let's get down to it. Before we really get kicked off and I start taking your questions, I want and honestly, I've got a lot on my mind tonight that I'm going to share with you. But you guys, many of you saw the Facebook post where we lost a member and a friend. A guy who I would consider a friend. H. Scott Appley. He lost his battle with COVID. And he passed away. We got that news this morning, and it's difficult. I wasn't necessarily as close with Appley as some people. I always called him Appley because I always told him it was very confusing. I don't know if to whether I call you H or call you Scott, so I'm just going to call you Appley. And so, but Appley was really he was really a kind individual, right? He loved political banter. He was an all around good guy. And, it really got me to, I've spent a lot of the day reflecting on those who have been part of the movement that didn't get to see, the day of fruition. They didn't get to see the new Independence Day. And some of you, I'll rattle off some names. You guys probably don't know them. Many of you are sort of new to this cause, but I will tell you that in the 25 years that I've been doing this and really fighting for Texas independence, there are a lot of folks that did not live to see where we're at right now. One of those is a man named Lauren Savage, and Lauren and I were super close. He got sick. Well, we were beyond super close. I mean, he was one of the people who helped found the TNM. He was one of the ones who did a ton of the research on international independence movements. I talk about it in my speeches a lot, where we took about a 2-year period ahead of the foundation of the TNM and did a ton of in-depth study on independence movements around the world. And he did a ton of that. He was definitely an interesting guy, but he passed. I guess it was last year. A couple of years before, a man named Charlie Dorick. You guys never many of you never got a chance to meet Charlie. Charlie was literally the most loyal, steadfast supporter of Texas independence that you could ever imagine. And not a day goes by that I don't think of him and miss him. And then, you have folks that were there in those real early days, guys like, the Archie Lowe, who passed just recently, who you cannot imagine the hell that was heaped on him, for going out and advocating for Texas becoming an independent nation. So, there are a lot of names, and ones even more recent, like Dave Mundy. Many of you guys probably still remember Dave Mundy, who, he was our comms director for a long. I mean, I don't even know what to call Dave because he just did whatever, and the guy had an amazing wit. But he died several years back, and Apley's passing today just got me really to thinking about that. And I'll say that there's from a lot of people a perception that I'm a little bit edgy, a little bit demanding, a little too uncompromising. And I do have a tendency to just kind of tell people, look, let's cut the bull crap. Let's get rid of the excuses. Let's get Texas independence done. And I want you to understand that a lot of that is because of these people, right? That did not get to see independence because there's a lot of foot dragging. I mean, this is going to happen. I get it, but I have a certain impatience with bull crap, right? And excuses and ridiculous behavior, because that costs us time. And I have to ask myself, who else is going to be gone before Independence Day that really, really, really wanted it, but could not see it because of delay by others, right? And so just understand that so much of the sense of urgency I have is not for me. I joke all the time that, look, I've been doing this for 25 years. I really want a vacation. That part's true. But understand that really and truly, that is just humor to ultimately mask the fact that I don't want any more of our fellow Texians, our fellow Texas independence supporters and members and people that are just diehards. I don't want them to leave this world without getting to at least breathe one breath in a free, independent Texas. And so, yeah, I have a bit of an impatience here, and I have a bit of a low tolerance for people's crap. But understand that that's why. That is the perspective that is the perspective at which I look over all of this. Not to hurry for the sake of hurry, not to hurry out of my own impatience, but to hurry and do this right and get it done the right way and be absolutely sure we're going to win as efficiently, as quickly as possible for those people like Apley and like Archie and like Lauren and like Charlie and like Dave that won't get to see it. So, just tonight when we get done here, and I promise I'm not going to be the whole thing's not going to be just some introspection and a bunch of hand wringing on my part, because this is not hand wringing. I'm going to miss. I miss all of those people, and I'm going to miss Apley too. I mean, Karen and I looked at each other at dinner and said we can't hardly process the fact that we won't ever see him again. Right? He's 45. He's younger than me. Right? And it's important. So tonight, when this is all over with, just take some time and think about that. Think about not just about whether you're going to see this, but think about some of the people that may not be here to see it. If we delay, if we put off, if we procrastinate, thought it in those terms, and you'll come out renewed and motivated with a proper sense of urgency, because we all need it, folks. Events that are happening around us right now necessitate that this be the highest priority of our lives. It is an existential crisis. Our very existence depends on it. So, that being said, I also want to comment on the fact that when I posted my, I'm not going to call it a tribute because it really wasn't, it didn't pale. I mean, it paled as a tribute. It was not very good as a tribute, but I wanted to, at a minimum, acknowledge that Apley was one of us, and that he was going to be missed. And there were people that are within the TNM that knew him and needed to know that. So I posted it. And of course, would you believe it? Of course you would. The progressive trolls, pro-federal knuckle dragging, dirt eater morons came out in full force and decided to go into the comments of that post and drag Apley and talk about how he should be posthumously convicted for child endangerment, and just ragged on him. I mean, it was some of the most despicable and vile garbage that I have read. And look, they've called me all kind of names. I don't care. Threaten me with a good time. But I mean, for God's sake, the man just died, right? His wife is in grieving. He's got a son, brand new baby, 5-month-old, that he wanted so bad that child's not going to know his. I mean, the only way he's going to know his father is through the legacy that his father left, through the friendships that he made, and these people, and that reminded me of the kind of people that we're dealing with, right? Life means nothing to them. Nothing. They want to go around and they want to tout, they want to make this all about whether or not Scott received the vaccine. But I'm going to tell you something. Their vile words and their vile behavior are pretty much going to ensure a low compliance from anybody who's decent in this world. Because if that's the attitude on the other end of the jab, then folks, they have exposed that the divide among the states is greater than we could ever imagine, right? I mean, I didn't need proof that those people hate us for who we are. They hate us because they ain't us. But I didn't need that to prove that we don't need to be in an absolute political, cultural, and economic union with them, because we have nothing in common, right? Real Texans don't behave that way. You don't see us over dragging people on their social media profiles that died after they got the vaccine. You don't see us doing that, right? And I'm not telling you vaccinate, don't vaccinate. That's your choice of how you want to handle that, right? But what I am saying is that apparently with that other side, all common decency has gone out the window. And I can tell you right now, I can't stomach being in a union with people like that. I can't do it. All the more reason we have to get TEXIT, and we have to get TEXIT now. So, look, if you need more proof, and look, I'll even drop down here. And by the way, I knew that these scumbags are going to be on here trolling tonight, right? So, feel free in the chat to dog on them hard. But look, let me just show you. Let me just show you exactly why these people are problematic, right? Let me just show you how they feel about us, okay? This popped up. Oh, yeah. And Ron is saying, when the SJWs will start in on you, you're over the target. Look, I guaranteed, because this is going to be proof positive. Are you ready? You want to know who you want to know how the opposition is. You want to know how the opposition really feels. Hang on, I'm going to bounce this guy. Boom. There we go. Now you don't have to deal with him, because that's the beautiful part of having the ban hammer. Boom. Gone. So you want to come over and troll? That's fine. I got all night. I'll ban you left and right. So, oh no, look, boom, another one. So here we go. You want to know kind of what these people's attitude are? Let me just show you. Okay, check this out. Look at that. So this showed up on Twitter today, right? Now, as most of you know, our event calendar's public, right? Our event calendar's public. And we encourage people because, we're not cowards, right? Travis Clardy. But literally, here's the tweet, right? Tearing down and burning TEXIT signs is patriotic. That's what the tweet says. And then you go down and you have this that says the far right group, the Texas Nationalist Movement, well, you don't really know us very well, is coming to Denton. Newsflash, We've been in Denton. We've been in Denton a long time, much longer than you probably realize, despite their nonpartisan libertarian veneer, right? AKA we're fakes. Their views range from denying slavery in Texas, never happened, right? That's not one of our views. It literally is a historical fact. It happened. Anti-unionism. Yes, we do not want to be in a union. On and on and on. Okay, so it's a bunch of crap, right? So then, and I don't have the graphic here, but then they literally go on to say, and let me kill this graphic. They literally go on to say in comments in that thread, the Denton left is what they're called, that independence, that's a conversation we need to have, but that Lone Star needs to be read, right? They literally are promoting a communist uprising where Texas becomes lunatics, right? But I want you to see what that said, right? Let me put that up again. Here's what's important. Tearing down and burning TEXIT signs is patriotic. That's what they're saying. Now, my response was pretty typical of the kind of thing that I say, which was, rather than acknowledge that these guys are a bunch of whack jobs and probably are not going to be able to crawl out of their mom's basement and get the Cheeto dust off their fingers to go do anything, the point here is that really and truly the culprit here is Twitter. Because I want you to think about this. And as I put in my Twitter post, I said that really, if you want to see big tech hypocrisy on display, if we had promoted an arm wrestling competition, we would have been deplatformed for promoting violence, right? But that kind of crap, totally fine on their platform, apparently, right? Perfectly fine. So look, we know what big tech is. I literally spoke at an event called the Rally Against Censorship on Thursday night, and we talked about this very thing. When Dave Roberts brought me onto the stage beforehand, he talked about what big tech did to the TEXIT book. How many times we'd been to number one on Amazon before Amazon would pull some shenanigans and you'd get on Amazon and the book would be $800, something ridiculous like that. So we know what these guys are up to, but that's fine. Just like this knothead doesn't realize we've been in his backyard this whole time. I've got a message for all of you. We're everywhere. We are literally everywhere. So, you want to talk about us being fringe and extreme. We're everywhere. We're all over. I talk about it in the TEXIT book. I'm not going to pull the book out and read it, but I literally talk about it in the TEXIT book. How TEXIT supporters are everywhere. You have to remember, to win a TEXIT referendum, we need a greater than a majority. We would not be pushing for a referendum if we thought there was a chance in hell we can lose it. So what does that tell you? That tells you that we already know that there is greater than a majority of TEXIT supporters in Texas. So guess what? Whack jobs, you lunatics at the Denton left or whoever you guys are, you can't win. We've already won. You just don't know it yet. It's been a day. It's been a day, folks. Let me do this. Before I go on to this other thing that I want to talk about, I'm going to bring up the chat. Is that all right with you guys? Let's see what we got. Hey, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I do appreciate that. The message says, my brother turns 18 on the 11th. We're both going to talk to the nearest CPC and sign up for TEXIT as soon as he's legally able to sign it. Well, thank you very much. And welcome to the team. Look, we're going to get this thing done. And for those of you who want to know more about the petition, I'm going to encourage you to go here. I think the video's stuttering a bit, huh? We don't need that stuttering video. But there's the link on your screen. It's tnm.me/petition. If you guys, we have got a petition campaign going on right now. All the details are at that link, and we got to step on the gas. We need more petition circulators. We need more people signing the petition. We got to get it done. Trust me, after the garbage that I have seen today, we can't stay. We have to get this done. We have to put this to a vote of the people. No ifs, ands, or buts. All right, let me go back over here to the chat. Let's see what we got going on here. We had a drink of coffee. I was happy about that. All right, let me scroll back up. Let me see what I can catch. Hey, Buck, thank you very much for your super chat. We do appreciate it. Apparently, you must have posted an animated GIF because it literally, this is what it says to me on the screen. It describes the animation. So with your super chat, this is the message I got. Hippo character flips around, does a V sign with his hand while the word victory appears in the background. So I will imagine what that looks like. But thank you very much for your super chat, Bug. It is really appreciated. Yeah, and look, I'm seeing some comments here, and I'm obviously not going to be able to get them all. But this, whoever B Myers 123, you have the appropriate perspectives. I don't have a problem with trolls. They need to be heard because they expose themselves for who and what they are. That's true. And I generally don't. I mean, I kind of go either way with it. Sometimes trolls are funny, right? It's funny to watch these people because they are really ultimately some of the most ignorant. But look, at some point there is a line of decency that when it gets crossed, it's like it's banhammer. You got to go, right? If you're in my space, I look at it like this. When I have a social media profile, whatever, I mean, this is what we train in the T&M about our meetings, right? When we have a meeting, it's our space, right? That is the T&M space. And because we paid for the room, we have the contract or the agreement or whatever it is, that's our space. And so much like a house, if someone comes in and gets out of hand in your house, what are you going to do? You're going to show them the door, right? You're going to tell them to either, check themselves or get out. Well, that's kind of the way it is with these meetings. When we have our meetings, it's our meeting. Our people are in control. You come in and you get crossways with us, you're out. There's no discussion, right? You're just gone. And that's up to our discretion. And our social media outlets are that way too, right? When we have a page, or some outlet and someone gets on there and gets out of hand, we block, we ban, because it's like, look, you want to hate on us, you want to talk trash on us, go spin up your own page, go build your own audience and talk trash over there. But I'm not gonna pay for you to come over here and run me down on my own domain. It's not gonna happen. Okay, so let's get this. Will you support elimination of property taxes for a truly free Texas? Pete wants to know. Absolutely. One of the things I talk about and have talked about, God, for a long time, but recently at a lot of the meetings where I've been asked to speak, part of the property tax question comes up, and so because I've had to answer it during the Q&As, I have started just consciously putting it in the remarks so it doesn't come up in the Q&As because it has been asked a lot. And what I talk about is the economic impact that we have when, we're no longer overpaying $103 to $160 billion annually into the federal system, right? If that money doesn't just stay here in Texas, but actually stays in your pocket, that becomes ultimately discretionary income, right? I mean, it shifts the poverty. You cannot imagine the number of people that it will ultimately raise out of poverty, but that discretionary income gets spent because that's just the nature of people. And so there is this big economic boom, and the fact that we have a consumption tax in place ultimately means that portion of that will be recaptured via the sales tax, and it will be in such an amount that we could reduce, or we could make it probably reduce overall, I guess is the way I need to say it, would for most people reduce that burden overall. And as such, because of the increased revenue, we could eliminate the property tax because there would be no need for the property tax. That revenue could be captured by the existing consumption tax without an increase in the rate. So getting rid of the property tax is absolutely on the radar. And look, that's a lofty goal this side of TEXIT, but we're so close to TEXIT now. I mean, it's just got to be part of the thing. So, yes, Adam. Yes, I bounced the trolls. You are welcome. I enjoyed it. Yes, and rip to the real patriots. Amen. I am. Yeah, I see you guys ripping this guy. So let's see. I'm looking, guys. You just bear with me. I want to make sure that I get as many of these questions as possible. Yep. And look, I'm seeing people talk about the tributes to Dave and some of these other folks that I mentioned, and I just I'm very appreciative, man. I'm sorry, man. I get really sort of wistful and introspective about this. I mean, I'm seeing a lot. I've had a lot of good friends in this fight that are not going to make it to the finish line. So I'm definitely definitely. I'm sorry. I was reading. I was reading the chat. I'm sorry. But yeah, I appreciate it. Again, with the governor question, we have not announced. Let me just go ahead and get this out for everybody, whether you're in the TNM or not. Let me just be super clear about things. When we do things, right? When we think it, when we speak it, when we do it, we don't keep it a secret, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. So when the TNM endorses for governor, you won't have to ask me in the comments of a live stream. It'll be evident, right? This goes for any big announcements. When things are there, we let people know. And look, if you're not getting that news, then I tell you what you got to do. You got to go to our website. You got to register your support, right? We send out emails all the time. Every news article that gets posted on our site gets sent out to the entire list. So if you're not getting our emails, then go register your support. If you are not getting those emails and you don't want to register your support, go to tnm.me/news. Follow us on social media. We are on all of them pretty much. If there is any substantial percentage of the population using that social media outlet, we're on it. So we're not secret squirrel over here. We're not sitting on big things and just not telling anybody. I mean, we literally have a whole comms department, so it won't be a secret. So when we endorse, you guys will absolutely know. All right, bear with me a second, folks. I am seeing something here. I think the video, and guys, let me know in the chat. Is the video doing something crazy here? I can't tell. Maybe it just cleared up. All right, so let's get down here to some more questions real quick. Okay. All right. So I got a good one to share with you. You guys are going to love this. Wow. I mean, you guys are, yes. Wow. Okay. Well, there have been some super chats come in. And I am very man, I got to roll this back because I have got to acknowledge you guys. Phenomenal. And okay, so let me roll this down to our super chats on YouTube. James, thank you very much. He says he's been here since September 2020 and came here for the independence. So, man, thank you so much. Do appreciate it, and that is amazing, and I appreciate that contribution. And of course, to you too, Beverly, who just contributed in memory of Apley. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get with the team. I tell you what I'm going to do, Beverly, because of the 20 you donated in memory of Apley, I'm going to turn around and personally donate the same amount to his family because I know they're going to be struggling with medical bills. And okay, let's see here. Here we go, Geek Boy. Daniel, at this, we need to be getting people angry. People get okay. Yeah, true. Well, people, look, I'm going to tell you, I think people are angry right now. And what we need them to not be is blinded by their anger, but we need a righteous anger that motivates to the right kinds of action. Right? Shaking fist at cloud, not going to do it. Screaming, being weird, not going to do it. But channeling that into the right kind of efforts that get the job done, that's gonna mean the world. Okay, so wow. Okay, so Lou, thank you for your super chat as well. I mean, absolutely amazing, and very much appreciated. Wow, and Stephen, I'm not going to say how much that is, but it says money to replace burn signs. Stephen, thank you very much. So Stephen is basically saying, burn the TEXIT signs if you want to. I'm just replacing more. So Stephen, thank you. I mean, really, thank you. That is amazing. Wow. That's incredible, amigo. Thank you very much. All right. Let me go on to this thing because I'm running out of time, but I wanted to share this with y'all. This is TNM related. So let me pull this back over here where I can kind of look you guys straight in the eye. As many of you know, we get a lot of media mentions, right? We're mentioned in the media quite a bit, and we actually have a service that I get emails, right? We get pinged whenever there is a mention of the Texas Nationalist Movement or the TNM in the media. And so I got this media mention. I guess it was over the weekend, maybe Friday. And I didn't recognize the publication, and I went, and it was an English language publication from India. And it looked like it had nothing to do with us, right? It was about basically from some political party that's over there in India, and they were complaining about how a report had come out where they had been listed as an extremist group or something like that. It's like, okay, well, interesting. That's not a shocker. Welcome to the club, right? We've been called extremists. So I'm like, what does this have to do with Texas? Or the TNM. So I did a search of the document and I found Texas Nationalist Movement in the document, and it said it listed us in this document as well. I'm like, what? I mean, what is going on here? So there was a link to the document, and I downloaded it, and I'm going to share the screen with you because we're gonna go over this together. I'm going to show you some of the interesting high points, and hopefully you guys can see this, but. The title of the document, this comes from the Global Internet Forum to Counter Terrorism, right? So the GIFCT. Surely they could have made one that, had an acronym that was kind of rolled off the tongue a little bit better. But the name of this report came out in July, right? So it's fresh. It's called Broadening the GIFCT Hash Sharing Database Taxonomy, an assessment and recommended next steps. And I'm like, okay, there is a lot of jargon, but being I guess you could say I've been a kind of a tech head for a long time. I mean, my day job is literally I'm a CTO. So if that tells you anything, but this is so I knew what some of that meant. Right? Let me go back up to it. I knew what some of it meant. This hash sharing database taxonomy. Okay. So it deals with taking complex sets of data, creating what's called a hash, right? A data string. And then obviously hash sharing means you're giving it to more than one person. It talks about database. So we know that that's storage, and then taxonomy, and it basically deals with the classifications. So I thought this was quite interesting. So again, I did the search through the document, and when you look at this document, you're going to see, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to a very specific section because I don't have a lot of time to unpack this. I could spend an hour unpacking this, but I'm not going to. But you're going to see some terms that they use here, dynamic matrix of extremisms and terrorism. But here's what I want you to understand what they're talking about. Okay, so when we get down here to the introduction, they're essentially talking about how the internet and big tech polices extremist content. Okay. And you look here, and they have what's called this hash sharing database, where they take all kinds of pieces of information, like terrorist organizations, or terrorist language, or terrorism manifestos, right? And all of those get assigned threat scores. Those are converted and then checked against the hash sharing database to determine whether it's extremist content, so that most of what's happening that you're seeing now among the private sector for a lot of these posts that are getting blocked or banned are a lot of it is related to some form of this. Now, here's what's interesting. If you look at this right here, you can see that a lot of this is predicated upon lists that are compiled by the UN, which I thought was quite interesting. I was unaware of their role in this hash sharing database, right? But here's the UN list: imminent credible threat, graphic violence against defenseless people, glorification of terrorist acts. This is sort of the taxonomy that they're using: recruitment and instruction. So that's sort of the classifications that they're giving it, and I'm sure some of these individual tech players are working off of that. But let me get down to where specifically we're mentioned, and there you see an example of the hash, and I'm not going to go into the science and the math of it, but here's what I think we need to get down to, okay? And where we are specifically mentioned is on page 50, and the assertion that they're making in this document is that the current hash sharing database is inadequate. And there needs to be some kind of better differentiation. And I kid you not, the complaint was that the existing database, not that, they talk about its inadequacies, like, with some of these lone gunman manifestos and things like that, and I get that. I understand what they're talking about. That's not the debatable part here, but they literally said the existing system, in so many words, is racist, because it has a tendency to single out Middle Eastern terrorist organizations. It's fascinating when you read sort of that ideological hoops they jump through. But they talk about content taxonomy, and that's not where we are. It's a whole big report, but I want to get down to specifically where they're at. What they're doing is they are attempting to create what is effectively a multi-dimensional matrix to determine whether or not something should be censored and to what degree on the internet. And so you see this, they have this graph, the continuum of ideological engagement. They say regular regional population, and then all of a sudden they have this with the terrorist population, and they're looking, they're literally trying to, now what's funny about this is, the hilarious part about it, if you look at the text here, they don't say that this graph really means anything. It's literally just two overlapping bell curves. It's a conceptualization, right? Same thing here, right? So this is what I want to get to. And so listen up. Hey, if you're not a T&Mer, then if you are, pick it. If you're a Tea Party person, or a conservative, or whatever you are, you're going to want to take note, because essentially what they've done is they have created this multi-dimensional chart, where on this side they have level 0, which is just partisanship, to level 1 fringe group, to level 2 violent extremism, to level 3 terrorism. Okay, so they've created this continuum from just straight up partisanship to terrorist, right? From, I wear Republican red or Democrat blue on one end, to, yes, I like to strap dynamite to my body and go blow things up, right? Terrorism. Okay, so that's your continuum. But then what they've done is they have separated out in between to these level defining cues and the types of ideological engagement. And so they've got this cognitive, behavioral, and group dynamic and all that. So, their definitions are quite interesting. So a good example, and you'll see why I'm taking level one. Hang on, let me make sure I'm getting to the right page here. Okay, so level one fringe group, we're going to just take this one, right? Nonviolent extremism. But this is what they say, the cognitive. They say it perceives, glorifies the in-group as superior, indoctrinate dogmatic values, prejudice, and discrimination. Then they say the behavioral is they discredit or denigrate the out-group, seek isolation from the general public, express external blame for negative events, and censor deviant views. Okay? And then the group dynamic is pursue and promote norms of purity, supremacy, domination, or revenge. And so they have, over here, right wing, left wing, religious, separatist. And look right there. It literally says, and I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I don't know that I can zoom in on this. Let's see if I can zoom in on this for you. But I want to make absolutely sure you guys can see this. So they're classifying nonviolent extremism as seeking self-determination. This sounds like this. I wish I had a whiteboard, right? I could just draw on these. But look right here. Seeking self-determination, a fundamental God-given right, suddenly makes you all of these other things. Perceiving glory, all of these things. We're prejudiced, we're discriminatory, we view ourselves as superior, purity, supreme. What they're doing is they're literally attributing all of those characteristics to people that are seeking self-determination. Think about that for a moment. So I focused in on this one because this is, my friends, page 51. 50, hang on, getting there. Looking for the chart where we are mentioned, and boom, there it is. So on page 62 of this report, they have listed these various groups, right? So notice all that other stuff is gone. It's just now we're to the right wing, left wing, religious. They're looking at the ideological engagement. And boom, here we are listed next to the Greater Idaho Movement. Basically, the people who just want their that live in the states adjoining Idaho that want to be a part of it because their state sucks, right? So we've literally been lumped in here in this whole thing with Westboro Baptist Church, the Democratic Socialists of America, the National Socialist Movement, the Australia First Party, and here are the people, the Bharati, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but these are the people that we originally saw the article on. But notice down here, partisanship, non-extremism, right? One nation, people. Now here's what I want to point out. Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin is a political party in Ireland that literally was the political wing of the Irish Republican Army, a literal terrorist group. But somehow we're just the fringies, right? So interesting, though, that they at least cued in on the fact that we are nonviolent and political. Now, my message really is this, because, and I think this is important for everyone to understand here. They called us nonviolent extremists, but if you go into the document and you look at what they want to do, you come down here to level one fringe groups, and I want to find this operational framework. I believe it was on page 53. Yeah, so their definition of these fringe groups, right? Nonviolent ideologies that are on the periphery of social movements or larger organizations with more extreme views than those of the majority. Well, wait a minute. If you're seeking self-determination, and we're yet again willing to take this thing to a vote because we believe that we'll win, then what is extreme about that, right? This is obviously so. But I guess my question is, at what point, what percentage of the population do we have to have before it's not an extreme position, right? Because they've already essentially said that promotion of self-determination is extremism, right? So maybe there's nothing. Maybe if we had 99% support, it would still be extreme because we're promoting self-determination. And I think it's quite interesting because these people are, cooperating within the international community that all are big fans of the UN Charter, which in Article 1 has an absolute guarantee for the right of self-determination. So, I don't know if these guys got a hold of some of the crack or, crack pipes or what they did, but this is literally insane, and it's Orwellian, right? Because they have essentially defined the language. Now, before you think that this is some kind of outlier report, it's going to go nowhere, understand that it is essentially promoting a new framework for how what you say is judged on the internet and whether or not you can say it. And let's be honest, it's not much of a leap to take it from the internet into real life. I mean, at what point does speech become hate speech? What is that line? What they're trying to do is establish this criteria online that could classify anything. I mean, literally, they're saying if you promote self-determination, you're an extremist, right? Beyond, and so, all of these things that we have talked about related to social media outlets, if you want to understand why so many of you are spending time in Facebook jail and getting bounced, and, guys are taking to Twitter and threatening to burn our crap to the ground and not getting punished for it, now you understand why. There's no ideological consistency to it, right? There's no intellectual consistency to it. Let me just put it that way. There's no logical consistency, but it is ideologically consistent in the fact that those people burning our stuff is perfectly fine, right? But us just promoting self-determination is somehow extreme. That means, folks, that we're here fighting for all the marbles. I said it at the rally for censorship the other night. I said it. I was plain about it. This is not just about Texas independence. This is really a fight for those Western ideals that say that we should be at all times free to think, free to speak, and free to act. This is for all the marbles, kiddos. This is a much bigger fight than I think a lot of people give it credit. And it's time we all took a much more serious look at what this really means for the whole world. It's not just about our little corner of it. There are a lot of people watching what we do here right now. So we're going to make that. I tell you what, we're going to get an article up on the TNM website about that, and we're going to link that report because you guys need to see it. It is insane, quite wild. So let's get down to it. Let me see if there's any more questions. Hey, let me just thank all you guys again for your super chats on YouTube. And look, folks, if you want, I'm going to ask you, as I do all the time, if you want to be a part of the solution, right? That we're not talking about problems. I mean, there's enough people talking about problems. This is a solution. We know there's been a joke that we posted that's been going around that Greg Abbott's solution to federal overreach is Sudafed. Sudafed. Yeah, I know, right? But we all know that TEXIT is a solution. And so I would be remiss if I got through this entire thing and did not invite you to, number one, register your support with a TNM. Number two, become a member. Number three, volunteer, become one of our petition circulators, become a local coordinator, right? If there's no local coordinators in your area, become a local coordinator. We need all hands on deck. It's going to take all of us to get this done. Daniel Miller cannot do it alone. Daniel Miller cannot, but neither can any of us do it alone. But together, as Texans, we can make this happen, and we're going to. And hopefully, we'll get some more coffee talks in before we get down to the brass tacks. But folks, it's getting exciting, right? The petition campaign is on fire. Tom Belmore's over there working his tail off with candidates that want to run for office. We are getting ready to have that big pincer maneuver coming up in the beginning of next year, and they are not going to know what hit them. So we need all hands on deck. We've got to get this thing done. We've got to get it done. I can't stress it enough. And not to mention the fact that we have got a major crisis on our southern border that the federal government does not, they're exacerbating it, and the state government doesn't want to tackle it. I'm getting chastised left and right now. I'm getting chastised by people who say that we're going too tough on Abbott about the border, and I'm getting yeah in the other ear for people who say we don't care. Well, let me tell you something. My first trip down to be a part of the solution on the border was in the year 2000. Okay. So do the math on that. That was 21 years of making regular trips down the border, advocating for the residents on the border over and over and over. So, I know some of you Johnny-come-latelys out there getting real critical of what we've been doing, but trust me, we were there working before you were. So just be aware, and we're not going to stop. Look, we just appointed, and we don't have the announcement out yet, but we just appointed a new member to our advisory board, and we're going to have a special live stream where I interview him, and he is specifically coming on to the advisory board to advise us on border and law enforcement policy. And he has firsthand knowledge and experience in both because he is the county attorney for one of the counties down on the border. So get ready for that one. So that being said, look, I digress. I could go on and on and on about these, but it's coffee talk. We've had our coffee, and it's been an hour, and I'm not going to keep you that long. We can talk about whatever. But you guys have just been absolutely phenomenal. You guys, thank you for your chats. Somebody asked, what's a CPC? A CPC is a certified petition circulator. And if you go to, let's go here. If you go to this address right here that's on the screen, tnm.me/petition, you'll find out where you can become a certified petition circulator for the TNM, help us collect signatures, or you can go and there is a map of where some of our petition circulators are, where you can connect with them. And as always, since the launch of this campaign, all of our events are petition signing events. So you can go to any of our events on our events calendar and sign a petition. And, that's great. Bring friends. Bring your whole neighborhood. I don't care. Load them up on a bus and get them there. But let's get these signatures. Let's get it done. Let's get it done early. I don't want to be dragging in here December on these signatures. Let's get it done early. Let's win it early. Let's put it over the top early. And then everything after that is lanyap, right? Excuse me, folks. And of course, let me flash this up there. I mentioned it earlier. If you'd like to become a member of the Texas Nationalist Movement, head over to tnm.me/join. Become a member today. If you were not already, we welcome you. If you believe in the political, cultural, and economic independence of the nation of Texas, in our constitutional republic form of government, and the inherent rights of the people of Texas, then we welcome you into the organization. We want you with us because it's going to take all of us. That being said, that is going to be it for me. Thank you to all of our super chatters. Thank you to everyone who liked, shared, commented, whatever it is that you did. And of course, yes, thank you again. Super chats coming in. I appreciate that. And no, I will not run for governor, but something else may be getting ready to be announced. No promises, but I will say that I'm almost there. Almost. Something big's coming. There we go. And someone says, thanks to all the CPCs, coordinators, and volunteers. Absolutely. That is for sure. So, look, I don't want to belabor the point here, but I do want to say that, again, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for making these Wednesday nights very special for me to get to hang out with you. Many of you I've never met face to face, but I do enjoy getting to participate in the banter and the attentiveness that you guys give to someone who's definitely been at this a very long time, in times when it felt kind of like the Maytag repairman. So I'm glad that we could connect up. That said, I want to end with the words I always end with, and those are the words of Sam Houston when he said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. I believe that time is now, and the question is, will you stand with her? Good night, everyone.